In my opinion, there's a pretty noticeable difference in the earlier seasons of Gumball versus the later ones. To be clear, I don't mean a difference in quality. I probably have just as many favorite episodes from the last 3 seasons as I do the first 3. But still, I think most people can notice the more sarcastic, meta, and sometimes downright cynical humor that's more present in the later seasons than in the earlier ones. I definitely enjoy this kind of humor, probably because if I were to take a Sex and the City personality quiz, I'd get Miranda. Don't act like you don't know enough about that show to know what Miranda's like. However, sometimes that later humor was a little too cynical and meta for my liking. Even us Mirandas like to occasionally be reminded of the beauty in the world and be humored in more innocent ways. I think that's the main reason why I enjoy The Plan from season 2 so much. It's just an adorable episode with an adorable premise and adorable humor. The episode starts with Gumball and Darwin digging through the trash to find the missing parts of one of their toys. Anais is there with them, and while looking, they find a note to Nicole from a man named Daniel Leonard.
Here's another gift because your beauty and happiness is the most important thing in my world. Signed, Daniel Leonard.
So the kids think that some man is trying to steal their mom from them and decide to devise a plan to get her back. Right off the bat, there's 2 things about this that I love. Firstly, Anais is working alongside Gumball and Darwin here. Now, I know I haven't seen every episode of Gumball, so what I'm about to say might be completely incorrect, but I feel like in the majority of the episodes where Anais has a prominent role, said role is working in opposition of Gumball and Darwin to tell them why what they're doing is wrong or stupid. But in this episode, she's right there with them, just as convinced that Daniel Leonard is trying to steal their mom, and just as ready to devise a plan to stop him. It's a nice change of pace for her character, but she's not dumbed down or anything, so it's not like she's acting out of character, you know? The second thing I love about this is how much it reminds me of a specific event in my own childhood. So back when I was like 5, maybe 6, my mom's cell phone company decided to reward her for her service, I guess, by providing a custom-made ringtone for her.
Ringtone, pick up your phone.
No, not that ringtone, unfortunately. I probably wouldn't have been so suspicious if it was a ringtone like that. Instead, my mom's ringtone consisted of some men singing her name in this R&B style and telling her to pick up the phone. Little kid me was really confused and high-key offended by these dudes because, like Gumball, Darwin, and Anais, I thought that they were trying to take my mom from my dad. So, when watching this episode, I can totally see how the kids, being kids, would come to this conclusion about Daniel Leonard and react the way they did. So, back to the plan. What they decide to do is trick Nicole into leaving the house so that they can hack into her email and send a message to Mr. Leonard telling him to meet them in the park. There, Anais and Darwin would pose as the last remaining survivors of Nicole's previous family, while Gumball would pop out of the bushes dressed as Nicole to scare Mr. Leonard away for good. Simple enough, right? The majority of the episode is dedicated to the trio picking out weak spots in their plan to make sure it's foolproof. They make sure Darwin is given a script of what to say to Nicole. They make sure the email they sent to Daniel Leonard sounds like it was written by an adult. They make sure to eat their burritos without sauce so that Richard can't smell them as they make their escape. And so on and so forth. And like I said earlier, I just think a lot of the jokes in here are really cute. Gumball sarcastically asking about CCing the Queen of England in the email always makes me chuckle. And hands down, my favorite part of the episode is when Gumball accidentally gives himself a wedgie trying to jump down from the fence. There's something about his voice that really cracks me up every time I watch that part. Just the way that whole scene plays out with Darwin adorably taunting Gumball and Anais realizing that the gate's been unlocked this whole time is just, well, hilariously adorable. God, I keep trying to get my 5-year-old cousin to watch this show, and I hate that I love it more than he does. I'd say that for anyone who's not familiar with the show, this is a great episode to watch to get a sense of the overall personalities of everyone in the Watterson family. Nicole is a workaholic, Richard loves food, Darwin's generally a sweetheart and is probably the most sensitive out of the bunch. Gumball is lazy and often prioritizes his own short-term desires over the desires and needs of others, including his own future self. And Anais is really smart. She's also got absurdly short legs. The episode ends with Gumball, Darwin, and Anais heading out to enact their foolproof plan. But before they even make it to the phone booth to call Nicole, they run into a billboard advertising none other than Daniel Leonard himself and piece together who he really is.
Daniel Leonard is not a man. He's a brand of cosmetics.
So you see, Daniel Leonard wasn't trying to take Nicole, just her money. And those R&B singers weren't trying to take my mom either. Just her, money too, I guess. I don't have anything profound to say about this episode because I doubt they were trying to say anything profound with it. And that's okay. Sometimes I just want to laugh at a bunny, a fish, and a cat running around causing mayhem wherever they go. And for the most part, the plan does that perfectly. If I had to find something to criticize this episode on, it'd be the fact that there are a couple parts in here that drag on for too long, like they struggle to get the episode to full length or something. The first moment is when Gumball goes into shock over the idea of someone trying to take Nicole and faints a whopping 4 times. The second is when past and future Gumball are fighting. Both of those moments started out enjoyable, but I would have been perfectly content had they shaved several seconds off each of those scenes. So yeah guys, that's the plan. I mean, the episode's a plan. I don't have a plan for you all or anything, unless you guys plan, get it, on subscribing to, you know what? I'm not even gonna finish that sentence. It was too corny. And I'm just gonna end the video here before I embarrass myself anymore. Thanks for watching.